Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Today's video is 16 must-see things to do in New York City. The activity in first place is the most worth it, so be sure to stay until the end. In 16th place, the Museum of Modern Art. This is where the really famous painting Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh is located. The Museum of Modern Art houses modern and contemporary art. It has over 320,000 items located within it. 15th place, Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. It is located in Times Square. Here you can find realistic wax figures of celebrities such as Taylor Swift, Selena Gomez, Anne Hathaway, the Kardashians, Brad Pitt, Michael Jackson, Rihanna, Bruno Mars, and several presidents. You can also find Marvel superheroes as well as movie characters such as Katniss Everdeen and King Kong. The height of the wax figures is actually the height of the people in real life, which is pretty cool. In 14th place, Brookfield Place, which is a shopping mall. I think the colorful lanterns within this mall are so beautiful. You can also find a food court which sells a variety of different foods. I personally like their crepes and their Mexican food. There's also an outdoor skating rink in the winter that is located right outside the mall. They decorate it really pretty as well. There's like lights everywhere. When you walk along the river, which is just right outside the mall, you can actually see a really beautiful view of the New Jersey skyline. And there's tons of shops, so if you want to do shopping, that's a good place to go. In 13th place, we have the High Line, and this is an elevated rail line which was transformed into a public park in Manhattan. It is 1.5 miles long. You can find some really pretty views of the city when you walk on the High Line, and it also crosses the Hudson Yards / the Vessel. In 12th place, we have the Rockefeller Center. You can also go to the top of the building, which is known as the Top of the Rock, to find some really beautiful panoramic views of New York City. They also have ice skating during the winter, so during the winter you can find people skating in the ice skating rink. It is also where the Christmas tree is located during the holidays. It's a really tall Christmas tree, and they decorate it and light it and everything, but it's a really popular place, especially during the holidays. It is surrounded by international flags. In 11th place, we have Central Park. It is 2.5 miles from the top of the park until the bottom of the park, and it is about a half a mile wide. If you walk there, I would suggest that you spend at least half a day there because the park is really large, at least 4 to 5 hours. Nearby the Central Park is the Guggenheim Museum as well as the Met. Place we have Times Square, which is always filled with tourists. It is really crowded during the holiday season. This is where all the really famous bright TV screens and billboards. I think locals honestly probably like to avoid this place as much as possible, but locals say not to go to restaurants within Times Square and to go to Hell's Kitchen instead. But you can't go to New York without at least visiting Times Square at least once. 9th place, we have Dumbo, which is a neighborhood that stands for down under the Manhattan Bridge overpass. Here you will find a really beautiful view of the Manhattan skyline, including the One World Trade Center. You can also see a really beautiful view of the Brooklyn Bridge. It's just a really iconic view, so be sure to go to Dumbo if you have time in New York. 8th place, we have the Oculus, and the Oculus is a shopping mall. The structure is shaped like a dove. It's located right next to the One World Trade Center, 9/11 Memorial, and the museum. The interior, when you stand right in the center, it looks like a spine. In 7th place, we have Washington Square Park, which is a public park with the Washington Arch. It kind of looks like a smaller version of the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, France, in my opinion. I keep wanting to call it the Arc de Triomphe because of Paris. It is named after George Washington, and it is nearby the NYU campus. Between the years 1797 until 1825, Washington Square Park was actually a potter's field, which is a public burial ground for thousands of poor victims of yellow fever. And in 6th place, Grand Central, which is a really famous train station. This is where the four-face clock, which is worth $20 million, is located. Around Grand Central, you will find a food court. I believe the food court is in the lower level, and there's shops nearby as well. In 5th place, we have The Edge, located within the Hudson Yards Mall. It is an observatory deck with a glass floor. So the glass floor basically is shaped like a triangle. You can actually see through the glass and you can look right below you, see all the cars and everything underneath you from 100 stories up in the air. Some people choose to step on it, stand on it, and take pictures. 360-degree views of New York City. Takes 52 seconds to ride the elevator up to the 100th floor. And the edge also has a bar and a gift shop. I believe they also have a restaurant up there as well. There are other observation decks, not just the edge, such as Top of the Rock, One World Trade Center, Empire State Building. They all offer observation decks for a fee. In fourth place, walking on the Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge basically just connects Manhattan to Brooklyn. You can walk here in the daytime as well as the nighttime. I believe it's pretty safe. And you can find some really stunning views. When you walk there, the pedestrian path is actually separate from the bike path as well as the car path. You'll be safe from vehicles. It's about 1.5 miles long each way, 3 miles round trip. In third place was Statue of Liberty. If you want to see the Statue of Liberty, you can take the Staten Island ferry for free, or if you actually want to stop, get a really close look of the Statue of Liberty and you want to like actually get onto the island, which is called Liberty Island, then you will have to pay for a ferry that takes you there and actually stops there. Liberty Island also has a free museum called the Statue of Liberty Museum. You can also climb to the top of the Statue of Liberty, but I'm pretty sure that's in pretty high demand, so if you want to do that, you would have to book pretty far in advance. Personally, I went on a nighttime ferry ride, which passed the Statue of Liberty at night. I saw some really beautiful views of Manhattan skyline and also passed underneath the Brooklyn Bridge. It was such a night to remember. It was really pretty. I also saw the Chrysler, Empire, and Freedom Tower from a ferry point of view. Ellis Island is located near Liberty Island, which is where the Statue of Liberty is located. Ellis Island has a museum as well. It is called the Ellis Island National Museum of Immigration. Within that museum, you can learn about the history and legacy of American immigration. In second place, the Hudson Yards / the Vessel. Hudson Yards is a neighborhood which is home to shops, offices, residences, the Shed, and Vessel. The mall, which is called the Shops and Restaurants at Hudson Yards, is a pretty high-end shopping mall. I believe they have like 5 levels and you can find fine dining restaurants there, as well as like, I think there's a Shake Shack there as well. I'm not sure if this is year-round, but I know like during the holidays, they have these really pretty string lights decorating the entire mall, and it looks like a fairyland and it's so beautiful. They have it like lining the escalators as well as on every single railing, so it's just so pretty. The Vessel is a futuristic tourist attraction shaped like a honeycomb. It has 16 stories with a spiral staircase. I believe you can't climb the Vessel anymore, but you can still look at it. In first place, we have the 9/11 Memorial / Museum. This honors the victims of the 9/11 attacks and the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. The 2 9/11 memorial pools are located where the original Twin Towers once stood. The 9/11 Museum is 70 feet underground and it contains information about the 9/11 attack, including information about the Pentagon attack in DC and the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. The museum contains pieces of the Twin Towers, including elevator motors, the original staircase, fire trucks, and personal items that belong to the victims / heroes. It also contains first-person testimony, images, and footage of the attacks. Be sure to like this video and subscribe. See you in my next one.